Welcome to the Beyond the Vines podcast, where I interview local business owners in Sonoma County to highlight small business and grow our community. I'm your host, Amy Ehlers, a mom, realtor, and Sonoma County native, and I'm excited to connect you to some amazing people in this beautiful area that we call home. Welcome back to the Beyond the Vines podcast. Thank you again for joining us and for listening. I am just really having so much fun, as you can tell, having these small businesses come into our office, into our podcast studio, and doing these recordings. It's just so nice to get to know the people behind the businesses that we have here in Sonoma County. So thank you again for listening. I am here today with Craig Erickson of North Bay Creations. North Bay Creations is dedicated and passionate about producing high-quality pieces that will last for generations and committed to using sustainable and responsibly sourced materials whenever possible. Not only does craftsman Craig Erickson love making furniture and home decor products, which you guys know I love, but he also loves teaching basic woodworking to anyone who wants to learn and create something new or refurbish an item that they already have. Craig continually teaches novice and beginner classes and working individually with students that want to expand their woodworking skills. This is definitely a class that I'm interested in taking, and I am so excited to have you here today, Craig. Thank you.
Thanks, Amy, for having me.
We were introduced by Julia Marble, and I'm just so thankful to her for connecting us because
awesome?
She's awesome.
Yeah,
she is
really
awesome. So,
no doubt.
and I feel like having you is such a great fit on here too.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, it's amazing. So, can you tell us more about your journey into woodworking and how North Bay Creations came to be?
So I have to credit my grandfathers, both of them. My one grandfather was an electrical engineer, and he could build literally anything. And so I just caught on to that when I was a little kid. My other grandfather, when they immigrated here from Sweden back in the 1940s, before that, he was a ship carpenter. And he did all the intricate detail work on these Swedish sailing yachts.
That's amazing.
And so I learned from both of them, even from when I was like 5 years old.
Wow.
I was probably the only kid that asked for a drill, like literally a drill for my like 8th birthday, you know?
That is so cool.
So yeah, that's how I got started. And then I've just been doing some kind of building all along. I've built houses and did framing and cabinets and finish work. And now, I've kind of morphed into more of the home decor and teaching classes as well.
That is amazing. Yeah. I think just being able to have that that experience within your family, that's amazing that you grew up with that.
Yes.
And then also that you can then bring that to everybody in the classes that you teach is so cool to me.
Absolutely.
So what type of pieces do you create?
So I do a lot of furniture pieces, custom made furniture pieces. A lot of times people will send me a picture and said, hey, I'm thinking about this. Can you do this? And absolutely. Let's get together and we'll put a plan together and just see where it goes. And sometimes we'll have some changes along the way.
Right.
So I do a lot of custom furnitures. And then a lot of the home decor stuff like, charcuterie boards and picture frames and shadow boxes and one-off things like I did an aquarium stand, not too long ago. So it's literally anything and everything.
Yeah.
There are some things that are outside of my specialty. And if that is the case, I'm not going to pretend like I can get through it. I'll refer them to somebody that can do it very well. For them.
That's amazing. Yeah. I was picturing, like, while you were saying it, I used to watch that show Fixer Upper a lot with Joanna Gaines, Chip and Joanna. And I remember she had like a carpenter or woodworker that she would just bring these incredible ideas to. And I'm just now connecting the dots. That's you.
Exactly.
You're who we can bring our ideas to.
Bring them all. Yeah.
That's so cool. Yeah. Your commitment to using sustainable and responsibly sourced materials is really admirable. Could you share some examples of the types of wood you prefer to work with and why they're eco-friendly choices?
So fortunately, we live right here in Sonoma County with the redwoods, right?
Yes.
And one quick story is when all the fires came through, especially out in the West County, a lot of those trees went down.
Right.
But we worked with a lot of sawmills that were able to go in and grab those trees that had come down, and they took off the outer bark and the outer burned structure, and we were able to bring those in and reuse those and make some sustainable pieces of furniture and other home decor products. And so like this little charcuterie board, this is one that I have a friend that has a sawmill out in Tallahassee, Florida. And this is a mahogany piece, right? And he finds these down mahogany trees and he'll send me some of his pieces. So
that's amazing.
So it's not going to the landfill.
Yep.
It's not being plugged up in the landfill. And it's really fun to see and give it another life. So,
it really is.
That's how I use that.
What a way to take something like the fires that's like tragic, and be able to make something beautiful out of what happened because of it. So.
Yeah, one other quick story. I got in touch with a gentleman from Charlottesville, West Virginia.
Uh-huh.
There was an old tavern that was coming down,
Oh,
and he
wow.
had these old original walnut posts. And then they were tearing down. He's like, "Can anybody use these?" I was like, "Yeah,
Yes.
send them my way." So we made some really cool furniture out of them.
Wow.
We made a lot of charcuterie boards out of them that people here in Sonoma County are using every day.
That is I love that historical piece, right?
Yeah.
It's wood from wherever that's being used in people's homes
Exactly.
now.
And that tavern was from the 1800s. So that wood kind of
Amazing.
predated up to the 1700s.
That is, do the people that bought the charcuterie boards know
They
that?
know that.
Oh,
They
very
send them
cool.
that tell, yeah.
That's so special. Craftsmanship and attention to detail are clearly important to North Bay Creations. You've brought some of your beautiful pieces today. Can you share some specific examples of the techniques and traditions you use?
Yeah. So going back to my grandfathers, I inherited all their tools.
Oh,
And
wow.
we're talking like the old base and bit drills, and the augers and some of that stuff that you can't do with modern woodworking tools.
Yeah.
And so, and if you notice, a lot of that furniture that was made back then still exists today because of the traditions, the handcrafted approach that they went to that. So I try to recreate that in a lot of my projects.
Wow.
So it'll also last for, another generation or two or three.
Yeah.
And so that's how I try to recreate that with the tools that I have. And then, of course, it goes into the design and the implementation of what the person wants. And we use those old traditional techniques over and over again.
That's so special that you're able to pass that on. Is it hard to maintain those tools? I'm just thinking about
it is, and especially as they get older.
Yes.
And my chisels are now getting down a little bit more because I'm always sharpening them. But the good thing is when you take care of them, those tools were meant to last.
Mm-hmm.
Tools today are disposable, right? And unfortunately, that's the world we live in. But those old world tools are just they keep on going.
That is incredible.
As long as you take care of them, they will keep working well for you.
And just so special too for people to know that their pieces are being made with them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And some of the techniques of joining wood together, you don't see that in some of your IKEA furnitures that won't last more than a generation.
Right.
But some of the other, tables and chairs and other furniture that we're making will last for generations to come.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
To think too about your pieces getting passed on in that way, that must be a pretty amazing feeling.
Yeah.
Wow. I love that. Yeah. I saw that you offer custom design and creation services on your website. Yep. Can you share a memorable project that you've worked on where you collaborated with a client to bring their vision to life?
So this is really cool. So one of my students, she had taken one of my woodworking classes. She had never really done any woodworking before. And then after she contacted me a little while later and said, "Hey, I have an old ottoman that my grandparents gave me when they first immigrated to the United States 80 years ago."
Oh my gosh.
And she's like, "I would like to refurbish this and make it usable if possible." Yeah. So, and it was in pretty bad shape. We got into the shop. We went to town on it. Reupholstered it, got it looking perfect, and now it keeps that timeless classic look, yet it's a nice usable piece of furniture. And it'll last for another 50, 60 years.
And I think back to her grandparents, that would be so cool to know your things are still being used and cared for.
It was one of the first things they bought when they got here.
Wow.
And she has it.
Yeah.
And they live on, so it's really cool.
That is really special.
Yeah.
I keep using that word, but really I don't even know how else to describe it because I didn't think about, all of this going into that, how it can be passed on in that way. Yeah. Amazing. Yeah. Your social media presence is really good for anyone who's been on Instagram and followed you. I was getting sucked into your reels.
Thank you.
So who creates the reels that you post?
I do.
That's impressive.
It is a challenge.
Yeah.
Because I have no formal training in social media arts. It's just I just throw something together and hopefully it sticks. And sometimes I'll be like, "Oh, this is a really great reel," and I'm super excited for it, and it flops, right? But then others, I'll just barely put any attention into it, and it does really, really well.
So strange.
It's so weird how that works. Same thing over on Pinterest or Facebook. And, I just try to show what I'm doing and try to make sense of it on social media. Yeah. One thing is that I've started doing is that any project that I work on, I try to document everything as I go. So when I give a person that piece of furniture or that item that they've ordered, they have that digital documentation to go with it.
That is really cool.
Yeah, sometimes it's from the raw material, as it comes into the shop. and the final shot is leaving the shop.
What are people's reactions to that?
They love it.
I was like, I would geek out over that. Yeah.
And they're like, they have it now to show other people. And
wow. Which also helps promote your business too, because like, that's amazing to be like, oh, you like this piece? Look at how it was made, you know?
And, the problem I found is though, and everybody else will notice, it takes so much longer to do a project because you're documenting everything as you go.
Yes.
But I think it's a really important part of the process. It's just a little bit of a value add, I believe, to what I'm doing.
Yep.
I don't charge people for that time that I'm documenting, obviously. It's just something I do just for fun.
Yeah. Do you connect with other, and I'm throwing this at you, woodworkers on social media? Do you look at their reels? Do they look at yours and see the different techniques?
Oh, I look at them. I don't know if they look at mine, but I definitely I love seeing what other people are doing out there. And sometimes you'll see little trends that are going, and I'll try to jump on those from time to time. But a lot of times, and the good thing is, if you message another woodworker, they're usually really good about sending back feedback or ideas. And I love that community. That we're all in this together.
Yeah.
Right? I don't call it competition. I call it co-opetition. I don't know if that's a word. Between cooperation and competition. We're all helping each other out. And again, like I said, if I can't do something, I'm not going to be, have the ego to, try to muster my way through it.
Right.
I'll toss it over to somebody else. And you know what? I've had plenty of people send me some business my way too.
That's amazing. Yeah. I think it's so important too, at a time where we're seeing, a lot of, like more disposable items, like you were saying, to have people like you who keep these really essential pieces that we can pass on to our kids. Absolutely. And it's so amazing because we all have grown up with that, and I hope our kids will as well. So yeah, that's amazing. Yeah. So teaching woodworking is a significant aspect of your work. And I'd mentioned to you before we started recording, like my own story with wood shop, how I was helping my daughter figure out her elective. So she's getting ready for junior high. And I was warning her, like, you're not going to get your first choice. Probably I got stuck with wood shop, which I was so upset about at the time. And then I ended up loving it. It was like my favorite class ever. Yeah. So what inspired you to start teaching? Do you find that there's a lot of beginners like me who maybe don't realize how much they would love it? And then what do you find most rewarding about helping others learn it?
Good question. So I actually, a lot of people had approached me and said, hey, do you teach the other things? Or that? So I got thinking, well, I'm sure there's an avenue for that. And so I went out, started teaching classes out of Chimera Arts at Sebastopol, which awesome group out there, a wonderful community of makers. And I started teaching classes out there, and I started teaching classes in my own shop. And I have found that, most people, have zero or very little woodworking experience, and it's just an opportunity for them to learn something new. And the cool thing is I've had repeated customers, right? Well, so they'll take one class and they'll take another class and another class of different projects we work on. Right? So we'll do a bit like my favorite class, and I've been teaching the longest. We make a birdhouse, right?
That was one of my favorite projects in wood shop.
And the funny thing is when you say a birdhouse, people minimize that, but there's actually quite a bit that goes into it, right? So go using the what lumber you're going to use, what kind of tools you're going to use, how to use the tools, how to join everything together. The really neat thing is you can take all of those beginning principles and use them on another project, and grow from there onto another one. Like that student that she brought her ottoman in, we use those skills for that. And then she's using the new skills we learned on that one for another project. So I love how it kind of perpetuates itself into another class or another idea that they come up with. A lot of times people will approach me and say, hey, I don't know how to make this. Can you help me make this? And we'll work together on something like that. And I just love doing that because it helps people branch out and develop a new skill set they probably weren't interested in before, but then all of a sudden, I got the bug now, and I'm totally addicted to it. Right. And it's really fun to work with people on those things.
I love that. I think that's a good way to describe it too. Like, I got the bug. I feel like that was me when I was a kid. It's like, oh, why would I take this awful class? Oh my gosh, this is amazing.
It is a lot of fun.
Yeah, it really is a lot of fun. And when you were talking about the birdhouse too, I was thinking about my neighbor actually built us a birdhouse probably a decade ago. And my kids have just treasured it since. We have had birds and eggs in it. It is one of those things where they open the door to see if we have any new eggs in there or any new birds that have taken up habitat or, a nest. So those birdhouses come in handy.
Yeah. And those charcuterie board classes are really fun
I can imagine, especially right now. That's such a trend.
In fact, one of my social media posts this morning was just a couple pictures of different creations that some of my students have made recently. So
wow.
It's just a lot of fun.
I love a good charcuterie board.
Yep.
I probably have gifted your charcuterie boards without even knowing it because I get them from Julia.
Yeah, there you go. Perfect.
So my clients probably have your boards in their house.
Awesome. Better. Even better.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So can you describe, so you did talk about your beginner classes a little bit. Are there any other projects? So charcuterie boards, birdhouses?
Yeah, like
any other projects?
I've got a new project is like a Japanese toolbox, that
you can feel free to show that too.
So
here. For anybody watching on YouTube, he's got some of his pieces here.
That lid just comes up and you can put all your tools or craft ideas in there. Just a nice little, and this is awesome for like a gift or holidays or something like that. And so, we'll just get that
beautiful
for people to use. And
yeah.
So that's my next class coming up. And then I have others like we're doing some antique restoration classes as well.
Yeah.
And then we'll go on to other furniture classes later on.
Do you ever advertise at any of the antique stores that we have here in Petaluma? I wonder if you could connect with them. It just popped in my head because their customer base would probably be really excited to take your classes too. Yeah. That just popped in my head.
Good idea.
Looking ahead, what are your goals and aspirations for North Bay Creations? And are there any exciting projects or initiatives you'd like to share?
So I want to expand out and collaborate with other makers. I've been doing that all along, like Julia, right?
Exactly.
We've been doing classes up at her barn. There's a great group, Studio U. They're just moved into Barn 5400 with us, right? And a great group. They've been doing classes, and I help work on give them some of the supplies of their wood products that they need. There's a couple other iron workers that we're collaborating on ideas, and I just want to keep growing that a little bit more. I believe that as we all work together, we all raise the tide, right?
Yep.
And so I love the collaboration. I love getting in and sharing ideas because then that'll spring new ideas and new people we can connect with and new customers we can help serve in the future.
I love that. And I think, getting a different reach in Sonoma County is so important. Yeah. I think people in Sonoma County really appreciate this type of craft as well. That's amazing. Can you talk briefly about Barn 5400 too for anybody that doesn't know about it? I would love to, for you to share.
Barn 5400 Old Redwood over here in Petaluma. It's an old barn. I guess actually it was an old dairy farm.
Oh, I don't know.
And it turned into a lumber yard. And then now it's actually used for maker space. So we have artisans there that produce, ceramics and floral, printed art, other wood products. And it's just a great opportunity for us to have a community there of makers that we can, again, bounce ideas off each other. And then, of course, we do pop-ups there fairly often.
Right.
And open on Fridays and Saturdays. And so people can come in and shop. It's right next to the feed store or the nursery.
Right.
And so there's a lot more going into it coming up. But it's been a great beginning.
So it's open. Is it open just normal hours Friday and Saturday for anybody to come by?
So it's like 11 to 3 on
Wow.
on
Okay. Because I had mentioned too, I'd stumbled upon it going to an event there for my friend's daughter.
Yep.
And I was just like, what is this amazing space? And what are all these amazing things?
Yeah.
And
if you follow their Instagram, they post whenever there's a pop-up, which they do fairly often.
I don't think I follow them on Instagram. Now I need to. But I thought it was just the coolest space.
Yeah.
So
It's really neat.
yeah.
Yep.
Wow. I love that. Thank you for sharing that with us.
For sure.
So can you provide some tips or advice for any listeners who may be interested in getting started with woodworking as a hobby or even a potential business venture?
Yeah. Just get started.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
You don't need all the expensive tools. You don't need a lot of experience. I mean, a lot of things you can do with a drill and a jigsaw.
Right.
And you can find those on Facebook Marketplace sometimes for free.
That's a great point.
Yeah. And so, and then as far as wood goes, you don't need the most expensive wood. You can find wood for free on Facebook.
Right.
Or, other online outlets. And the thing is, just go for it. There's no reason to delay something because you might be a little intimidated or something like that. That's the only way you get started is by just jumping in and going to town. Now, you'll notice that maybe your first project isn't, what you would consider great.
Right.
But nothing is the first time. The really neat thing is when you keep doing other projects and you build on it and build on it and build on it, and you'll learn those little tricks as you go.
Yeah.
And then before long, you're making some pretty awesome stuff.
That's amazing.
And you just have to remember that it's not the destination, but it's the journey along the way, right?
I love that.
And every day, I mean, I'm consistently and constantly learning new techniques, new tricks, some tricks that I'd forgotten that I'm like, oh yeah, I remember now, why I did that the way I did before. So the other thing too is reach out to people, ask questions, and you'll see that a lot of people are really willing to share all of their experiences. And I haven't known anybody yet to say, sorry, I can't help you with that question. It's just not going to happen.
Probably because everyone's so passionate about their craft. They're excited to share it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a lot of fun though.
That is amazing. Yeah. Wow. I think that's good life advice in general too.
Totally.
So that's amazing. Coming off business for a minute, what are 3 fun facts about you personally?
Okay. Let's see. I've been to 6 out of the 7 continents in the world.
Wow.
I love traveling.
Okay. What's the missing continent that you haven't been to? Okay. Are you going to go there?
Probably not.
Okay. That's okay.
I
Too
can't
cold.
stand snow.
So we're going to stay with 6. All right. All right. Love that.
Let's see. The next one, I am deathly afraid of snorkeling.
Oh.
I love being in the ocean. I love being in the waves. I just don't want to see what's below me.
I'm kind of with you on that. I took my kids snorkeling and all was well until I thought about they're watching for sharks, like the people that took us out on the boat. That's what they're looking for. And then it was like, I kind of was like, I don't really need to do this again. Yeah. It was great. So you don't like snorkeling?
No,
I'm with you.
Yeah. Can't do it. And it goes back to a whole trip to Hawaii once.
Oh gosh, can you tell us, or is it?
Okay, I'll tell you.
I was like, this is literally where I was snorkeling and decided I never needed to again.
24 years ago, we were on our honeymoon.
Okay.
Over in Hanauma Bay, over in Oahu.
Okay.
We were like, okay, let's go snorkeling.
Totally.
And so we're just doing the touristy thing, and we're just kind of floating there, looking around, and out of the corner of my eye, I saw something. And there's fish all over the place, but then I see and I turn and there's a fish right in my face. Oh. And it's one of those big pancake flat fish. Yeah. And I just ripped off my mask. I was screaming.
Panic attack.
I'm like, get me out of here.
Yeah.
My wife was laughing so hard. And she will not let me live that day.
Does she like to snorkel?
She loves it. She'll go out for hours.
So that's the thing is now at this point, my husband will go out with the kids that want to snorkel, but I don't join, and neither do my daughters. Actually, they don't love it either.
Biggest eel out there. Like, good for you.
That's nice.
I'm glad I wasn't out there.
That's really, really funny.
And then my last one is I am a diehard Seinfeld fan.
Oh,
Best show
it
ever.
is a good show.
So,
these were good facts. I like that. You were ready.
Yeah.
I really like that. So towards the end of each episode, I like to ask, is there anyone you want to give a shout out to that's helped you in your career?
Oh, absolutely. Dave Hamelberg. So Dave Hamelberg is a serial entrepreneur here in Sonoma County.
Oh, okay.
And what he does is he'll start, like right now, his big project is he's got a nonprofit that he works with high school kids, and he brings them in to his other shops and teaches them principles about how to start, how to do taxes, how to do marketing, sales, all this different things.
That's incredible.
How to source your products and stuff. And he has another project that's called the Community Shops up in Rayleigh's and Windsor. And what he's done is he's worked with Rayleigh's, and he's doing this at a few different stores where they give him a dedicated space in the store, and he invites other makers to bring their stuff in to sell their things there that they wouldn't have had an outlet otherwise.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And so David's great with giving advice freely. He is just like, hey, here's what's worked for me. Right. Here's what you should think about doing. Here's your price point maybe you should look at.
Wow.
Just a whole different cadre of knowledge that he has.
Yeah.
And so, David's been a great mentor to me and just a great friend as well.
Sounds like a good person for our community.
You need to bring him in.
Yes, I would love to. He sounds brilliant.
He's connected.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, I'd love to meet him.
Yeah.
Wow, what a great person to have in our community.
Yep.
Where can people find you, whether they want to take a class or if they want to purchase a piece or have you do a custom piece? Where can they find you?
Okay, so all my social medias are North Bay Creations. So whether it's Twitter or X, I guess now, but definitely Instagram, Pinterest as well.
Right.
And my website's down. I got hacked, and so my
it got
website,
hacked.
It got hacked.
Yeah. Oh no!
So I'm redesigning that right now. So
that's frustrating. Okay,
we'll have that back up soon.
Yeah,
but right now probably Pinterest is probably Pinterest, Instagram, and Pinterest are both.
I didn't even think to look for you on Pinterest. That's a great idea. Yeah.
Matter of fact, one of my reels took off like 250,000 views, which like over on on Instagram, it was like 4 views.
So and then on Pinterest,
funny.
It was
it
that.
just like blew up.
Wow. That's amazing. But yeah, you're the perfect fit for Pinterest.
Yeah.
For people to be able to find that.
Yep.
That's so great.
Yep.
I love that. So, well, thank you so much for coming in and teaching us more about this. This is amazing.
Awesome. That's a great opportunity.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
And thank you for listening.
If you like what you hear, please be sure to like and subscribe, learn more about Sonoma County and all that we have to offer here.